Alright, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rachak, Wadash. Double honors unto our apostles and elders of Great Millstone that rule well. Much peace and blessings to all you sincere Akim out there that's pushing this 100% truth with all sincerity, faith, and with charity. This is your brother Ash from the Great Millstone Miami Camp, coming back with another lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai. Lord willing, this lesson is edifying unto the elect of the nation of Israel. Okay, this is going to be real quick. It's just going to be a few words going into something that I came across on the internet. Okay, YouTube, right? Which you have this post right here by Shiz Sharday. Okay, so-called black woman, maybe a Levite. You know that Shiz is a Creole for chef, right? So I was scrolling and you have one of these posts. I don't even know if I'm subscribed to this chick or not. I don't think so, but I just came across this post, right? But check out what she said. She posted a screenshot from a Twitter post she put saying black women don't mind simping to white men, and that is a actual fact. All right, any so-called black man, okay, you grew up here in America, that's evident, that's plain, okay, and it's becoming more and more plain each and every day. It may have been a time period where you might have thought this wasn't true or whatever, but this has been going on all the way since the plantation. Okay, let's just keep it real. A lot of the time, black women, they romanticize so-called white men. Okay, just being so-called white, you don't have to have money, you don't have to have, he just have that face card, and they will talk shit about Jake, the so-called black man, call him Dusty, call him Brokey and body bag, all type of shit, right? And say they can't deal with a so-called black man, this and that, if he don't have money, or if he's a so-called straight and straight and narrow, so to speak. He works a good 9 to 5. He walks the straight and narrow path. She'll call him a lame. She'll call him a nerd. But then she'll turn around and deal with a really broke Edomite living in his mom's basement, who's a gamer. He just play video games all day and allowed Esau to dog her out, call her a nigger, bitch, and all that, and they'll be totally in love. And we all know this, right? So I came across this post, and me personally, I like to read comments. I'm a comment reader. A lot of times I go to videos, I go straight to the comments before even playing the video. I just like seeing what people say. I like reading the conversations. I like to see how people's minds work, right? So I'll go to the comment section, right? And I'm going to show you, the point of this lesson is not to talk about the so-called black woman, okay? But I'm just going to highlight an example of a heathen, a clear example of a heathen, a clear example that all skin folk ain't kinfolk. Okay, you got a lot of so-called black people out there that think that just because someone has dark skin, that means that they are one of us. And when I say one of us, I mean an Israelite. Okay, and that's a very simplistic way of thinking, but that's what's pushed here. That's why they gave us that title, black. And Jake want to say black, melanin this, melanin that, right? But check this out. You have this one comment says, "You not lying," right? At the top, "You not lying." They do it at work and outside their job, which we all know that, right? So I clicked these comments. I clicked the replies, and the first reply says what? Unique polyglot, right? "I am a black male and I see nothing wrong with that." Now, immediately you see that, and like, that's a record scratch. What so-called black man in his right mind? Of course, you have men like us that have totally checked out. Like me personally, I'm totally checked out of, even thinking about the so-called black woman. I'm not looking at Keisha. I'm not worried about her at all. I'm indifferent to her. Okay? I don't see her. But that's just me. Now, we know the average so-called black man is not going to say that seeing so-called black women simping over Esau is they don't see nothing wrong with that. That's a damn lie. Okay? No man in his right mind of any nation is going to not have a problem seeing his female counterparts bending over backwards for the men of another nation. Not just any nation, but the nation that has conquered us and subjugated us for centuries. Okay? While at the same time demeaning and just deriding their own men. No nation of men would not have a problem with that, because that shows that your people are defeated. That shows that your people are conquered. When your women no longer want you and they disrespect you, and then at the same time bend over backwards for the men that are oppressing us, that shows we are destroyed as a people, which is one of the curses that Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, has put upon the nation of Israel. Okay? The Lord turned our women against us as a punishment, which that's a very good punishment, because that hit us where it hurts. And again, we men like us, we're over it, because we understand what we have coming to us. We understand we could rebuild a nation using heathen women, right? So we understand, the scriptures say that the wicked understand not judgment, but the righteous understand all things, roughly paraphrasing. And when you understand something, understanding removes anger, it removes stress. Okay? When you truly understand the matter, you don't get bent out of shape. You only get bent out of shape when you don't see the bigger picture. And we know we're going to get them back in the kingdom in righteousness. Right? So when I see this comment, my first thought was, okay, this is not a man. This is not a black man for real. This is probably a woman lying, talking shit, right? So I clicked the page, and you're going to see this is not a so-called black man, right? Now beware yourself, because this guy is not easy on the eyes, not light on the eyes, like what was that, Rachel, right? Let's see. You see this guy? Look at this guy. Now, indeed, he is a black man, right? He's a very dark-skinned man. Very dark-skinned man, right? But look at this guy. Let him speak.
ये गवर्नर्स की मैंशन है ये तो मैं यहाँ मौजूद हूँ मैं देखने के लिए बहुत खूबसूरत घर है ये तो मुझे लगता है आप लोग अच्छी तरह से नहीं देख सकते।
Now that's an ugly MFer. Okay? This guy is, look at this guy.
मैं अभी भी जा रहा हूँ मैं घर जा रहा हूँ मैं ठीक है यहाँ सामने है सही तबारक है ठीक है
जिया तबारक यस
पीके स्ट्रीट फूड
पीके
जी ये वो खाना पसंद है पशाव की खाना
Okay? So clearly he is not a so-called African American. He's not a West Indian. He's not a Haitian. He's not a dark-skinned Cuban. He's not a dark-skinned Brazilian. He's not one of our people that are scattered over in the UK. He's not West African. Okay? You see hear his accent and the language he's speaking. This is clearly somebody over from the Far East. Okay? He's over here with his people, with Elam and shit. You know, this could very well either be a Hamite, some type of Hamite, or Elamite, even an Ishmaelite. But it's clear. You could just look at his spirit, or his vibration. Just look at him.
A fan going, you're rooting for them. Do you know anybody?
Yeah, I know the whole players.
Okay. Oh, you do?
Yeah.
So they'll take care of you? Okay. I'll be thinking of you then when that comes, and I'll be thinking if I catch any of those games.
Yeah, you're a fan. I'm one of the fan, yeah.
You got that same silly, goofy, stupid looking look that all the heathen have. Okay? A very, very silly, goofy, dull countenance. And it makes perfect sense why he doesn't see anything wrong with our women simping for so-called white men. Because the heathen do not understand our struggle. Okay, another example is that guy Myron from Fresh and Fit. When you watch Fresh and Fit and you hear the way Myron speaks, he will call himself black. But then, you know, he will down talk so-called black men, so-called black women, and so-called African Americans in general. You know, call them lazy, this, that, and the third, which I myself as a Levite, and you know, we know there's truth to all stereotypes, but as a Levite growing up here among Judah, I understand why Judah are the way they are, and I am part of the struggle as a so-called black man here in America growing up. I understand the struggle, right? So I'm in the struggle. But Myron, you can just hear the way he speaks. He doesn't know the struggle of so-called black men in America. He speaks with pure hatred. You can hear in his tone that he has pure hatred for Judah, and really it goes down to jealousy, envy rather. These heathen, they envy us. Like, yeah, the Kendrick Lamar song, They Not Like Us. They not like us. And Jake will use that phrase when speaking about the heathen. Because, you know, what Kendrick meant by that was saying Drake doesn't understand the struggle because he grew up, he doesn't understand the plight of so-called African American males growing up in America because he's light, bright, damn near white, and he was raised Jewish amongst Jewish people. And he is still considered Jewish because they go by the mom, right? On paper, he's Jewish, okay? So again, they not like us. All right? And this guy, he looks just like Mr. Popo. Any of you Dragon Ball Z fans out there, you know Mr. Popo. He clearly look exactly like Mr. Popo. You got a lot of people out there that think Mr. Popo was based off a black man and that it's a caricature of so-called black men, when it's not a what they call a minstrel of so-called black men. This is the truth when you really do your research on Mr. Popo. Right, you have this post from another guy. It says, also for those who are discussing Mr. Popo in the wake of Akira Toriyama passing, which was the creator of Dragon Ball Z, he was not based off a black man. Mr. Popo is based off the Makala, which is a Hindu deity over time and creation, which makes sense. Hence, the hyperbolic time chamber. Showing you these different, creators of these shows, they they're heavily influenced by these different religions and shit from the heathen. Okay? So Mr. Popo is basically a demon. But you see he has the turban, he speaks with the accent, the way his style of dress, it's clearly not a mockery of the African American man, neither the West African man, which is where we descend, you know. Before we came to America, you know, we were in West Africa. Before West Africa, Jerusalem, nation of Israel, the so-called Middle East, right? So again, even in, which is Hindu, is what? East Indian religion, showing you a lot of those East Indians are very dark skinned, but their spirits are totally different. Their energy is totally different. You can look at this guy just by the way he talks. His vibration is totally different from that of a so-called black American male. And that's why he cannot understand the plight of the so-called black American male. The heathens, they hate us, man. Honestly, they hate us. And they like seeing us down bad. They like seeing our women bending over backwards for Esau. It makes them comfortable. Okay, and I didn't really have much scriptures. I didn't really have any scriptures lined up. But we can get an oldie but goodie. A little one, and I close it out. This is just an example showing you the nations, all the different nations have their own spirits, their own energies. And the energy of a so-called black man and the energy of a so-called Puerto Rican man is damn near the same. Because so-called Puerto Ricans are in the tribe of Ephraim. This energy of a so-called black man and a Colombian man is very similar. To the so-called black man and Mexican man is very similar. But you have very dark-skinned East Indians, very dark-skinned Arabs, very dark-skinned Hamites, real Africans, and their spirits are totally different from ours. They have dead, dull, dusty spirits, but they black as an ace of spades. Okay, this is Psalms 83. It says, "Keep not thou silent, O God, hold not thy peace, and be still, and be not still, O God. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones." So these nations, they come together and put their differences aside, band together to keep us snared and trapped as a people. So of course they see no problem with our women bending over backwards for the devil. Verse 4, they have said, "Come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance." That's why our people don't, for the most part, don't know who they are, because the nations conspire together to keep us spiritually asleep. Okay. Verse 5, they have consulted it together with one consent, they are confederate against thee. The tabernacles of Edom, which is the so-called white man, and next it says, and the Ishmaelites, which are so-called Arabs, the sons of Ishmael, which are very dark-skinned people. They have different shades from very dark to light and everywhere in between, but their energies are totally different from ours. You look at these different videos, these street food vendors in India, and they dirty as all hell. But you can't blame it on them being impoverished, because you go look at the street food vendors in Mexico or Colombia, and they know how to keep the kitchen clean. They keep the kitchen very clean. They understand that, how to, you watch them damn East Indians, they be cooking shit on the floor, mixing shit with their dirty hands, doing all type of dirty shit, and they don't see nothing wrong with it. It has nothing to do with them being impoverished or in third world countries. Because clearly, you look at our people, Jakes in third world countries, they're still clean, and the food's still good, right? Of Moab, which some so-called Chinese, their spirits are totally bugged out and they're totally nasty. They over there in China, which is I would think a first world country, maybe a second at least, but they eat all type of shit, nasty shit, eating frogs raw, and baby mice raw, and torturing dogs and eating them and shit. They dirty people. I made a point. I like to make a point. You can have so-called black women. They could be the most ratchet, hood, ghetto black woman. You're not gonna see her walking down the street without shoes on her feet. You ain't gonna see her walking down the street with some on her feet unless she's totally cracked out. And half the time more than half the time they still have shoes on their feet. But then you'll have princess, feminine, soft, opulent, come from a rich family, so-called white woman, and she'll walk down the street with no shoes and see no problem with it, showing you that there's a different spirit amongst our people and the heathen. They are heathens. Okay? And the Hagarenes, Gabal and Ammon and Amalek, the Philistines with the inhabitants of Tyre. Okay? Ashur also is joined with them. They have hope in the children of Lot. Salah. So that's showing you these heathen, man, they band together to conspire against us, to keep us down, because they can't help themselves. They hate us with a passion. They love to see us down bad. So anybody out there, your first time hearing about this truth, hearing about being an Israelite, this is really a foundational understanding that you must have to even understand the Bible at all. You have to understand the Most High created 18 nations, and each nation has their own spirit, their own energy. Okay? And you as a so-called black or a Haitian or African American, whatever, Puerto Rican, Cuban, Colombian, so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, okay? Your spirit goes back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. You are the Israelites. That's why we all have so much in common. Our rhythms, our energies, our vibrations are they resonate with one another. Our spirits don't resonate with the heathen. No matter how black they are, or no matter how pink their lips are. Okay? So that's pretty much it. That's just something I wanted to speak on. I found very interesting. And I believe this is a great example to this, to show that yes, the Most High created different nations. Yes, each nation has their own energy, their own spirit. So once the Lord opens up your mind to it, be able to discern spirits, you can clearly see who is an Israelite and who is a heathen. And that's not for nothing. Okay? Salvation is only offered unto the nation of Israel. Salvation is only for the nation of Israel. The heathen, they're through. Okay? And on the flip side, of course, the balance is you're going to have plenty of other nations that look like heathens that really are Israelites. But you have to try the spirit. You got plenty of so-called white people out there that truly understand the plight of Jake here in America, and they're not just saying that because they feel bad or whatever. You can tell, you know, the way they talk about Jake, they really care. It's because they're Jake, a lot of them, you know, or what do they look like other nations? So that's pretty much it. Lord willing, was that a fine with that? I'm gonna say shalom.